By 2026, Canada is projected to face record-breaking healthcare delays, unaffordable housing, and climate extremes unlike anything seen before. In some major cities, people are already waiting months, sometimes years, for medical treatment, while the cost of basic living has risen faster than wages for over a decade. Here's the unsettling question no one wants to ask. What if staying in Canada isn't just uncomfortable, but dangerous? This video is not about fear or politics. It's about patterns. Patterns seen in economic data, climate models, and public health reports. When multiple systems start failing at the same time, history shows that everyday life can change suddenly. Most people don't notice the warning signs because they happen slowly, then all at once. So before you dismiss this, ask yourself this. If experts are quietly preparing for what's coming, why aren't regular people? Stay until the end, because reason number 10 could determine whether you're prepared or trapped. Number 1. Canada's healthcare system is quietly breaking. Canada is known around the world for free healthcare, but what most people don't realize is that free doesn't always mean available. Right now, millions of Canadians are facing record-long wait times just to see a family doctor, let alone a specialist. In many areas, people are waiting months or even years for surgeries, scans, or critical treatments. That delay can turn a manageable problem into a life-altering crisis. And by 2026, experts warn this strain could become even worse as the population grows and the system falls further behind. The problem isn't just funding, it's capacity. Canada is facing a serious shortage of doctors, nurses, and hospital beds. Burnout is pushing healthcare workers to quit faster than new ones can replace them. Emergency rooms are overcrowded, ambulances are delayed, and rural communities are being hit the hardest. Imagine having chest pain, severe infection, or a sudden injury, and being told to wait. That's not a worst-case scenario anymore. It's becoming normal. What makes this truly alarming is how silent the decline feels. There's no announcement, no countdown clock. Life seems fine until you need help. And when that moment comes, money often won't save you because private alternatives are limited or unavailable. The system you've relied on your whole life may simply not be there when you need it most. Ask yourself this. If your health is your foundation, what happens when that foundation cracks? This isn't about panic, it's about planning, because once a system is overwhelmed, individuals don't get priority, they get in line. If this made you stop and think, tell us in the comments, what's the biggest concern keeping you up at night right now? We put a lot of effort into bringing you research-based, eye-opening content, so please subscribe. It's just one click, but it helps us more than you know. Number 2. The cost of living is rising faster than human limits. Over the past few years, the cost of living in Canada hasn't just increased, it has outpaced reality. Rent, groceries, utilities, and transportation are climbing at a speed that wages simply can't match. For many households, it no longer matters how hard you work or how carefully you budget. Even people with stable jobs are finding themselves one unexpected expense away from financial stress. By 2026, if these trends continue, survival will feel like a full-time job. Housing is the clearest warning sign. In many cities, rent now eats up more than half of monthly income, leaving little room for savings or emergencies. Homeownership, once considered a normal milestone, has become a distant dream for an entire generation. At the same time, grocery prices continue to rise quietly but consistently. You may not notice it day to day, but compare your receipts from a few years ago, and the truth becomes impossible to ignore. What makes this especially dangerous is the psychological pressure it creates. Constant financial stress leads to anxiety, exhaustion, and burnout. People delay medical care, avoid having children, or work multiple jobs just to stay afloat. When a society reaches a point where basic life necessities feel unreachable, it doesn't collapse loudly, it erodes slowly from the inside. Ask yourself this uncomfortable question. If you're struggling now, what happens when prices rise again and again? This isn't about luxury or comfort, it's about sustainability. A place becomes unsafe not only when danger appears, but when living itself becomes unaffordable. Drop a comment with just one word that describes how living costs feel right now for you. If these videos help you see what others ignore, please subscribe. It's one click and it keeps this research-driven content alive. Number 3. Extreme weather is no longer rare. Canada has long been seen as a place of mild summers, clean air, and natural safety, but that image is quietly breaking apart. In recent years, the country has experienced record heat waves, massive wildfires, sudden floods, and powerful storms. Events that used to be described as once in a lifetime are now happening every year. Climate scientists warn that by 2026, these extremes are expected to become even more frequent and intense. The danger isn't just inconvenience, it's health and survival. Extreme heat puts enormous stress on the heart and lungs, especially for seniors, children, and people with underlying conditions. Wildfire smoke can travel thousands of kilometers, turning the air toxic even in cities far from the flames. Flooding can destroy homes overnight, cut off emergency services, and contaminate drinking water. These events don't give much warning, and when they happen, normal life stops instantly. What makes this risk especially alarming is how unprepared many systems are. Power grids fail under extreme heat. Emergency shelters fill up fast. Insurance doesn't always cover the real losses. And once an area becomes known for repeated disasters, people often can't sell their homes or relocate easily. You're not just facing a storm, you're facing long-term instability. Imagine waking up to orange skies, thick smoke, or evacuation alerts on your phone. For many Canadians, this is no longer imagination, it's memory. Climate change isn't a distant future problem, it's happening now. And staying in high-risk zones means accepting a level of danger that keeps rising every year. Comment with the most extreme weather you've personally experienced: heat, fire, flood, or storm. If this content helps you connect the dots, please subscribe. It's just one click and it supports the deep research behind these videos. Number 4. Housing instability is hitting harder than ever. Canada's housing market has become one of the most unstable in the world, and it's not just about high prices. It's about availability and security. Cities that once offered affordable rentals now see families crammed into tiny apartments, while homeownership feels like a dream slipping further away. By 2026, experts predict that the gap between housing supply and demand will widen even more, leaving millions in a constant state of uncertainty. This isn't just a financial issue, it's a safety and mental health problem. People forced to live in overcrowded conditions face increased stress, illness, and conflict. Young adults struggle to find their first home. Families are pushed into multi-generational living arrangements, and seniors may find themselves unable to afford basic necessities after decades of hard work. Over time, this instability slowly erodes the quality of life, creating communities where security is a privilege, not a right. Worse, when housing becomes scarce, even small emergencies like a sudden job loss or medical issue can turn catastrophic. Imagine losing your home because rent skyrocketed, or being trapped in a property you can't sell as prices fluctuate wildly. Housing instability doesn't make headlines like fires or floods, but its impact on everyday life can be just as destructive. For many Canadians, staying in their current city could mean living on the edge without realizing it. If you've ever felt trapped by rising rent or housing shortages, you're not alone, and this trend is expected to worsen unless serious changes happen fast. The question is, how long can you afford to wait before taking action? Share in the comments the craziest housing cost or rental experience you've ever faced. It could surprise others. If you appreciate the research and effort behind these videos, please subscribe. It's just one click, but it helps us bring you more life-saving insights. Number 5. Food security is becoming a serious threat. Canada has long been considered a country with abundant food, but that perception is quietly changing. Recent studies show that climate change, global supply chain disruptions, and rising costs are creating vulnerabilities in the food system. By 2026, experts warn that even basic staples like bread, milk, and fresh vegetables could become harder to access or unaffordable for many families. This isn't just about price, it's about reliability and survival. Extreme weather events, from floods to droughts, are already affecting crops both in Canada and abroad. When combined with inflation and shipping delays, these factors make food less predictable. For example, grocery shelves may appear full, but prices continue to climb, and availability can drop overnight. Families are forced to change diets, cut back on nutrition, or spend disproportionate portions of their income just to eat. This slowly but surely erodes quality of life and can create long-term health consequences, especially for children and the elderly. What makes this situation particularly alarming is its silent nature. Unlike disasters that hit suddenly, food insecurity creeps in quietly. Many people only notice when prices spike or when local stores start limiting key products. By then, planning options are limited and the most vulnerable populations feel the effects first. Staying in Canada without a clear plan could mean being unprepared for something most people assume will always be abundant: the food on their table. Ask yourself, if even basic necessities become uncertain, what options will you have? The time to understand and act is before 2026, because by then, patterns suggest many Canadians could face serious challenges. Tell us in the comments which food item you've noticed getting unaffordably expensive recently. It might shock others. If you value the effort we put into uncovering these hidden trends, please subscribe. It's just one click, and it keeps these important videos coming. Number 6. Mental health crisis is escalating fast. While Canada is often praised for its healthcare system, one area quietly spiraling out of control is mental health. Rates of anxiety, depression, and burnout have skyrocketed in recent years, fueled by rising living costs, job insecurity, and social isolation. Experts warn that by 2026, without significant intervention, the mental health crisis could affect millions more, creating a society where emotional well-being is as scarce as affordable housing. What makes this crisis especially dangerous is how invisible it is. Mental health struggles don't leave physical scars, but their impact is deeply felt. Relationships strain, productivity drops, and the ability to make clear decisions declines. For Canadians already juggling high stress, financial pressures, and uncertainty, even small setbacks can feel overwhelming. Studies show that prolonged stress can also weaken the immune system, increase the risk of chronic illness, and exacerbate pre-existing conditions. Technology and social media have made the problem worse. People feel constant comparison, digital overload, and social pressure, while traditional support systems like community centers and local programs struggle to keep up. By the time the crisis becomes noticeable, many are already trapped in a cycle that's difficult to break. Staying in an environment where these pressures keep building without adequate support could mean facing chronic stress and deteriorating mental well-being by 2026. Mental health isn't just a personal issue, it's a societal warning sign. If you or your loved ones are feeling the strain, recognizing the patterns now can make the difference between manageable stress and long-term crisis. Share in the comments one thing that causes you the most stress in daily life. It helps others realize they're not alone. If you appreciate the research and effort we put into these videos, please subscribe. It's just one click, and it keeps this vital content coming. Number 7. Surveillance and loss of privacy is escalating. Canada is often seen as a safe and free country, but behind the scenes, digital surveillance and privacy erosion are quietly increasing. From smart devices tracking your every move to government and corporate monitoring, the amount of personal data collected daily is staggering. By 2026, experts warn that Canadians could face unprecedented levels of surveillance, where even routine activities, shopping, commuting, or online browsing, are tracked, analyzed, and stored without real consent. This isn't just about convenience, it's about control and security. Personal information, when misused or exposed in data breaches, can lead to identity theft, financial loss, or worse. Many people assume privacy is guaranteed, but laws and protections are struggling to keep up with technology. The more digital systems are integrated into daily life, the harder it becomes to opt out, leaving individuals vulnerable. Imagine every step you take, every app you open, or every online search being logged and used in ways you can't see or control. The risks extend beyond individuals. Data can influence financial systems, political decisions, and social dynamics. People could be judged or restricted based on their digital footprint long before they even realize it. Staying in a system where privacy slowly disappears may seem harmless today, but by 2026, it could affect your freedom, finances, and even safety. Awareness and preparation are key, because once personal data is compromised, reversing the damage is nearly impossible. If you value your freedom and control over personal life, now is the time to consider how these trends might affect you and what steps you can take to protect yourself. Comment below with the one digital habit you think threatens your privacy the most. It might make others rethink theirs. If you appreciate the time and research we put into uncovering these hidden risks, please subscribe. It's just one click and it helps us keep bringing these life-saving insights. Number 8. Emergency response systems are under strain. Canada has long prided itself on having reliable emergency services, but the reality is that the system is quietly being pushed to its limits. Ambulances, fire departments, and disaster response teams are facing unprecedented demand, while staffing shortages and aging infrastructure make it increasingly difficult to respond quickly. By 2026, experts warn that in critical situations, Canadians could face hours-long delays for help that used to arrive in minutes. This isn't a distant possibility. It's happening now in many regions. Overcrowded hospitals, rural communities without sufficient paramedics, and extreme weather events stretching resources mean that emergencies no longer get the rapid response people assume. For ordinary citizens, this could turn a minor accident, sudden illness, or natural disaster into a life-threatening situation. Imagine calling for an ambulance and knowing it might take hours to arrive while your condition worsens. What makes this especially alarming is how systemic and silent the problem is. It doesn't make headlines until tragedy strikes, but the warning signs, long ER waits, delayed fire response, and overworked emergency staff are clear. Staying in areas where these strains are increasing may mean living with the constant risk of inadequate support, especially as population growth and climate pressures intensify. Emergency systems are the backbone of public safety. When they falter, ordinary life becomes uncertain, and the consequences are felt by everyone. Planning ahead and understanding which areas are at higher risk could make a life or death difference. Share in the comments the longest wait you've ever experienced for emergency help. It could open eyes to a hidden reality. If you value the research and effort we put into uncovering these urgent risks, please subscribe. It's just one click and it helps us continue delivering these critical insights. Number 9. Economic systems are increasingly fragile. Canada's economy may seem stable on the surface, but a closer look reveals a system that is quietly fragile and vulnerable. Household debt is at record levels, housing markets are inflated, and many sectors depend heavily on global supply chains that can break at a moment's notice. By 2026, economists warn that even a minor disruption from a market crash to energy shortages could have serious ripple effects across everyday life. The danger isn't just numbers on a page. A fragile economy impacts jobs, savings, and daily expenses. Many Canadians live paycheck to paycheck, and unexpected shocks like rising interest rates, inflation, or layoffs can push people into financial crises quickly. Even those who seem secure today may face sudden uncertainty if one part of the system fails. Imagine losing a job in a sector heavily dependent on external markets, or watching your home equity plummet while debt remains the same. What makes this issue particularly alarming is that it's slow-moving yet systemic. The signs are often ignored until they accumulate, leaving individuals with few immediate options. By the time the average person notices, the economic instability is already affecting access to essentials, housing, food, healthcare, and the ability to plan for the future. Staying in a system so dependent on fragile structures could mean living with constant financial stress, where even minor problems escalate into life-altering situations. Understanding these patterns now is crucial. Awareness allows you to prepare, diversify, and protect your future before the system's cracks become unavoidable. Comment below with the biggest economic challenge you're facing right now. It could help others see they're not alone. If you value the time and research we invest in these videos, please subscribe. It's just one click, and it helps us continue uncovering life-changing insights. Number 10. The silent combination effects. By itself, each problem we've discussed, healthcare delays, rising costs, extreme weather, housing instability, food insecurity, mental health struggles, surveillance, strained emergency services, and fragile economic systems is serious. But the most dangerous reality is when they all interact simultaneously. Experts warned that by 2026, Canadians could face a perfect storm of systemic pressures, where one issue amplifies another, creating risks that are far greater than the sum of their parts. This combination effect is silent and insidious. Imagine living in a city where emergency services are delayed, hospitals are overwhelmed, food costs are skyrocketing, and housing options are scarce. Add extreme weather into the mix, and even basic survival becomes a daily challenge. Mental health strain intensifies, financial insecurity worsens, and the ability to adapt or relocate diminishes. Most people don't see this coming because each problem, when isolated, seems manageable. It's the cumulative pressure that becomes overwhelming. What makes this especially alarming is how fast conditions can change once multiple systems fail together. A small disruption, a storm, a market dip, or a local health crisis can trigger cascading effects across society. Ordinary routines that once felt safe, going to work, sending kids to school, paying bills, can suddenly become high-stress decisions with real consequences. Preparing for a future like this isn't about fear. It's about awareness, planning, and action before it's too late. Understanding this silent combination effect is crucial. It's not just one risk, it's the intersection of many risks quietly shaping the future. Recognizing it now gives you the chance to protect yourself and your loved ones before the pressure becomes unbearable. Share in the comments the one challenge you think could trigger the most domino effects in daily life. It might make others rethink their priorities. If you appreciate the research and effort behind these videos, please subscribe. It's just one click, and it ensures we can keep delivering these life-saving insights. By now, it's clear that Canada is facing a perfect storm of challenges, and many of them are already unfolding. From the overburdened healthcare system and skyrocketing cost of living to extreme weather, housing instability, and food insecurity, the warning signs are everywhere. When combined with rising mental health struggles, surveillance risks, fragile emergency systems, and economic vulnerabilities, the situation becomes far more serious than most people realize. This isn't about fear-mongering, it's about seeing patterns clearly before they escalate. The truth is that staying calm without awareness or preparation could mean living with constant stress, uncertainty, and limited options by 2026. The problems we've discussed don't operate in isolation. They interact, creating a cumulative effect that can dramatically affect your safety, freedom, and quality of life. Ordinary routines like accessing healthcare, securing housing, or even getting a meal could become serious challenges, especially if multiple systems falter at once. But there is hope and power in preparation. Awareness gives you the chance to plan ahead, make informed choices, and protect yourself and your loved ones. Even small steps, researching safer locations, diversifying income, building emergency supplies, or understanding local risks can create a buffer against the pressures ahead. The key is action before it's too late. So take a moment to reflect. Are you ready for a future where daily life could be far less stable than it is today? Recognizing the risks is the first step toward control, not panic. By paying attention, asking questions, and making informed choices now, you can avoid being trapped by circumstances beyond your control. The coming years may challenge Canada like never before, but those who see the warning signs early and act decisively will have the best chance to protect their health, safety, and future. The question is simple. Will you be prepared, or will you wait until it's too late?